开始了吧 ？OK 好。All right, so it is 4:05 right now, so let's get started here. So thank you for all participating in this training. So my name is Emily Law, and I'm the technical project manager here from ZYCOO. And so far I can see that from many familiar names here. So for this training, we have separated into two different sections. So for today, we have our certified sales professional, which is our ZCSP. And for tomorrow, we will be having our IPPBX associate training, which is the technical training for tomorrow. So for today's topic, we will be more focusing on the sales on our products and some marketing information here. And we will be leaving all the technical questions, all the like how you need to make the configurations on the systems and how to set up the PBX. We will be leaving all the technical questions and information for tomorrow. So let's see what else. All right, so after today's training, we have prepared an exam for the ZCSP, and the exam link will be available on Friday mornings. So if you guys are interested for taking the exams, so please contact your direct sales manager. They can send you the exam link. And for today's topic, we will be cover the basic knowledge on our ZYCOO IPPBX, the CooVox Series. And it will be including the products overviews, and we will go over the PBX feature and also the telephony features and also the solutions. So if you guys are extremely familiar with the ZYCOO IPPBX series, you may skip this whole training to take the exams straight away. All right. Okay. Okay, let's get started with a brief introduction on who we are and what we do. Okay, so we are ZYCOO. We found in 2010, focus on IP telecommunication field. And we also have branches in the United Kingdom. We in Dubai, Jakarta, and also different locations in China. So if you are a customer of ZYCOO, that you probably know that ZYCOO is currently running majorly. We are running two different product lines. We have our IPPBX, the CooVox Series, and also we have the new product lines called the IP Audio Solutions, which listed in 2018. So since our today's topic is our IPPBX, so we will be more focusing on the PBX product lines. So we released our very first versions, like our very first series of IPPBX in 2010. It called it the GX series. And in 3 years later, in 2013, we have, in 2013, we released our version 1, the CooVox series. And then in 2017, we released the next version of CooVox, which is the version 2, the V2. And 2018, we released our version 3. And in the same year, we also released our IP Audio Solutions product line as well. So for the latest version on our IPPBX, I believe is 3.3. And you are able to find all the information, like all this information on our website. So, oops. Okay, so what is PBX? So hopefully you guys know, but just in case you do not know what a PBX is, so PBX stands for Private Branch Exchange. It is a fancy term for business telephone systems. And it is a part of a private telephone system that can manage phone call both internally and externally for a organizations to manage their call. And it provides a cost reduction in their telecommunication bills by letting them to handle their costs on their own. So on a PBX, okay, so next one, so what is Asterisk? So Asterisk is a open source software programs published by DGM. So you can use to the Asterisk to enable a PC to run as a service for a VoIP service. And Asterisk can also be used to develop telecommunication applications. So most of the PBX systems that you can see on the market, they are mainly developed based on the Asterisk open source. So which protocols that involved with IPPBX? So first one, we got our call control. So there are two main protocols that involved with the call control. For the first one, we got the SIP, SIP, stands for Section Initiation Protocol. So for the SIP protocol, it is a standard for initiating, modifying, and terminating the user sections by that's involved with multimedia elements such as video, message, etc. And the next protocol related to the call control is the IAX2, which stands for Inter-Asterisk Exchange. So on the IAX2 is a protocol that designed for providing a call control and transmission for VoIP data between Asterisk server. So nowadays it also used for connection between the client and the server. And for transport, we got a whole bunch of transport protocols here. So we got our UDP, we got the TCP, TLS, and RTP. So the UDP transport protocol is the default protocol that we use, but since not like every single country, it can be used UDP. So we also provided with the TCP and the TLS option. Yeah, so let's move on to the next section here. So let's have a brief product overview. So there are two major components of IPPBX. First one, we got the IPPBX itself with the systems inside, and also we have the module, which you can use the module to achieve different needs. So here is a overview on the modules that can be provided from us. So we have the FSO, FSS, and GMS, E1, T1, BRIs, WCDMAs, right? And I will be going over through all the module one by one. So for FSO, it stands for the Foreign Exchange Office. So the FSO part is a interface that connects with your PSTN lines to a VoIP adapter. So you may think of the O as outside. So the FSO part that will connect a device to the outside telephony line. So that is the FSO. That is what the FSO for. And then we have the FSS. So the FSS is the foreign exchange subscriber. So on the FSS, you can use it to connect with the analog phones or the fax machine. So you may think of the S as the meaning in station. So any line that is connecting from the FSS part is connecting to the analog device, you will be never leave the building. So the S part is going to connect with the analog phones or the fax machine. And then we have our FFOS, which is the combination of the two modules that we just described. So it contains one FSO and one FS. And we got our GSM. So the GSM is also representing as 2G SIM card. So for GSM, we provide one GSM, two GSM, and the 4 GSM. So one thing we need to be aware of is the on our model, only the U20 can support the one GSM. Other models cannot support the one GSM since it is a smaller modules here. And then we have the WCDMAs. So the WCDMA is also representing as a 3G SIM card module. And it use the radio frequency to transfer data in the forms of like calls, message, or the internet. So for the WCDMAs, it started with the 2. So we have the 2 WCDMA and or the 4 WCDMAs. And then we have the BRI and our T1, E1 T1s. So for BRIs, it is, I believe the full name on the BRI is Basic Rate Interface. So for the BRIs, one part on the BRI can support 2 calls. So for BRI modules, it can support at most 8 lines. And then we have our E1 T1. So E1 T1 is also called the PRIs, the primary rate interface. So on the in some countries, it uses the T1, such as like in the United States or Canada, they use T1s. And in Australia, in China, and other like countries, we use E1. So on the E1 T1s, it can support, I believe it can support like up to 30 or 31 lines. So both the BRI and the PRI, they are digital module. And then we have our CooVox Series. So for CooVox Series, we have 5 different models. We got our U20, U60, U50, and U80, and also U100. So among of them, the top 2, the U20 and the U60, they are on-board module, which means if you need to change the module inside the PBX, you do need to unscrew the box, open the box, and change the module inside. But the U50, 80, and the U100, it is module design. So you can like just pull out the module from the outside of the box. So you don't need to like unscrew the box. But if you are changing the modules in the PBX, make sure that you have your PBX power off. Otherwise, it will be, if your PBX is power on and you're trying to like pull out the whole module, it will be surely damage the module. And then let's go over all the models one by one. So we have our CooVox U20. The U20 is the smallest model that we have for our IP-PBX. It supports a maximum number of 15 concurrent calls and up to 32 extensions. And for voicemail and recording, it can support 150 hours. And I have listed the module that the U20 can support on the right side. So it can support the FFOS as 2 FFS, 1 GSM, or the 2 FFO. Okay, and the next model, we got our U50. So the U50 has a higher capacity comparing to the U20. So on the U50, it can support up to 30 concurrent calls and a maximum number of 100 extensions. And the recording and the voicemail on the U50 is the same as our U20, is also 150 hours. And then we have our U60. So the U60 can support at most 60 concurrent calls and a maximum number of 200 extensions. And on the U60, it can only support the FFOS to FFS or the to FSO for modules. Then we got our U80. So the U80 supports a maximum number of 60 concurrent calls, maximum number of 200 extensions. And it can, so for the U80, it can support the digital module, which is the BRI and the PRI. And then we have our last model of the U100. So the U100, it can support at most 100 concurrent calls and the maximum number of 500 extensions. And the voicemail and recording on the U100, it can support up to 7,500 hours. And also same as the U80, it can also support the E1T1 or the BRI. Okay, and move on to our next product. So we have our EX16S expansion box. So this expansion box is commonly used to connect with your analog phones or your fax machines. So for example, you have a whole bunch of analog phones in your old office, and you would like to achieve the IPPBF feature, which you can like purchase the expansion box to connect with your analog phones here. And I have the recommend the development table here. So if you have 32 analog extension, which includes the analog phones or the fax machine, you can use 2 of the expansion box and using our U20, or if you have like a whole bunch, like almost 200 of the analog devices, then you can use 12 and our U60, like 12 of the expansion box and combine with our U60. And here is a topologic diagram showing you that you have the analog devices connect to our extension box, and the extension box will be go through the same network and connect with our IPPBF. And here comes our CooVox series. So for the CooVox series, we have 2 different models. We have our H81 and the H83. The major difference between these 2 models is the H81 supports 2-line SIP accounts, while the H83 supports 4-line SIP accounts. And also the H83, it using this little fancy LCD screen, while the H81 is using the blacklight screen. So other than these 2 differences, they are exactly the same. Yeah. So those are the 2 models of our CooVox series. Move on to our next sections. We have our PBX feature. And for the PBX features, first of all, we have our quick setup feature. So which is if you are initially logged into the PBX system, there is a like a guideline tutorial helps you to fill out the all the information you need quickly. So if you are first time logging into the PBX, you can choose using these quick setup panels. You can choose the system language, set up the network, and also choosing the location that you are at, and creating any departments, and also a demonstration user. And also you can set up the SMTP, which is the mail, like for sending emails. And also for tomorrow's technical sections, it will be includes the whole setup. I will walk you through how to, like, after you receiving a PBX, what you need to do for the basic setup, and the advanced setup will be leaving for tomorrow's section. And after the next feature would be our zip proxy. So zip proxy is mainly for remote registration for end user who does not have a static IP, public IP address. For the pathway that we need to, if we need to register a remote extensions, we need to do the port forwarding on our router first, and then we need to subscribe to the public IP from the SIP, and we need to configure all the DDNS servers, etc. And for the present way that we provide is the zip proxy service, which is relatively straightforward. There is a form on the IPPS. You just need to fill out the form, download the license, send us the license files, and we will be returning you a license key. All you need to do is to click on the upload button and to upload the license key. Yeah, that's it. And here is a topologic on how the zip proxy is evoked. So the only thing you need to do is to upload the license key to the IPPBS, and you will be also choosing your own subdomains, such as like xcompany.zip.ZYCOO.com, and you will be using this IP address as the for your remote extension registration. And moving on, we have our multi-user platforms. So on the multi-user platform, I have chosen 5 different user roles here, but actually we have another user role called the API. So the API user role is you need to use it if you need to make a integration with our IPPX, you will use the API user role, but that is not that commonly used. So on the user role, let's take a look on the demonstration first. So if you are using the demonstration credential to log into the PBX, this is the interface that you can see from our systems. So the demonstration, it has the full authority to the PBX systems. So with the PBX, with the demonstration, 能听到我说话吗？我掉线了吗？能啊。卡了。对，我看到这边好像是。Alright, so if you are using a demonstration credential to log in, you are able to to make the inbounds and outbounds control configurations, and also creating extensions, creating dial plans and dial permissions. Dial rules and dial permissions, and also like uploading the audio files, checking audio reports such as call logs, call recording, system logs, etc. And also doing using our add-ons features such as the Proxy service that I just mentioned it. So the demonstrator has the full authority to the PBX systems. And the next one, we have our operator. So the operator, comparing to the demonstrator, it has less feature. On the operator credentials, it can only like registering for more extensions and uploading the audio files, checking the basic logs such as call logs and the call recording. So that is pretty much the whole feature that is available to the operator. To the operator. And then we have our extension user. So the extension user is based on our WebRTC. So there is no plugin or no software application required. So you don't need to like downloading any software applications, or you don't need to downloading any plugins to use the WebRTC. Simply, you'll be using the extension username. The extension users usernames and the password to log in to this interface. So from this extension user interface, on the very right side, we have this like little the rectangles dial call panels. So we can use these call panels to make calls. And on the left side, we have the navigation bar, which you can check all your contacts, check all your like call logs, the voicemails, visual fax, call forwards, and also checking for the feature codes. So this is how the extension user login interface looks like. And the next one would be our billings. So the billing is more for like for hotel solutions, such as if you have a hotel project and you need to check the phone in each of the guest rooms and how many minutes they call for international call or domestic call. And using this feature, you will be able to calculate the minutes times the rate on which extension spent. But the billing feature would be the same as our Proxy. It is a paid feature. And then we have our very last conference. So the conference feature on the so all models of our IPPBS, they all support the conference feature. So we support up to 10 conference rooms. So you can use these 10 conference rooms to invite different extension users for a meeting or a conference. Simply, you will be like just dialing the conference room numbers plus the password, and you'll be able to join in the conference using your SIP phone on your desktop, like or your IP phone on your desktop. Donna. And then we have our system security. So for system security, we have implemented a handful of strategy to prevent the system security on our IPPBS. So first of all, of course, we got our firewalls. And then we have our GeoIP. So the GeoIP, which means you can set to a specific location or a specific countries, only the IP address from the country that you set up will be able to access the IP PBX systems, such as, for example, so if I set up my PBX only able to access from China, if you are in the United States, you won't be able to access my my PBX systems. It will be like strictly permitted and blocked. And then we have the intrusion prevention strategy. So the intrusion prevention is you can set up like this in 5 minutes. And if someone is trying to using a wrong username and password to log into your systems, you can put the that IP address into a block list or a blacklist. And within like how many minutes, like such as within 24 hours, that IP address won't be able to access your IP PBX. And then we have the permitted IP. So on the permitted IP, you can set it up on each of the extension. So if you have set up the permitted IP on your extension, so only the IP address that you set up as the permitted IP will be allowed to access the systems or access your extension. And then we have the blacklist. So the blacklist, as the name suggests, so it is a blacklist. So any IP address in the blacklist will be not allowed to access your systems. And last, we have the whitelist. So the whitelist is different than the blacklist. So whitelist, you will be containing all the extension number. So only the number in the extension list in the whitelist will be able to access or call the specific IP extension. And then let's quickly go over some of the telephony feature here. So for IVR, so on our systems, we support unlimited levels of IVR. We also call it the multi-layer IVR. So you may set it up as many levels as you want. So you can set it up like press 1 for English, press 2 for Spanish, etc. And then after choosing the language, you can be selecting the next level as like press 1 to sales departments and press 2 to the technical support department, etc. So on our IVR, we support unlimited layers. So it would be like probably like more than hundreds of combinations options that you can choose to build your IVR. And then we have our call queues. So call queue would be basically putting all the calls, all the coming calls into a queue or a list, and then would be dispatching to a different all the calls will be going through the IVR, and then dispatching to a different locations, and the agents would be picking up the call one by one. And we have our call forward. So on the extension, you can set up you can set up the extension to forward the calls on a specific status, such as forward my calls when I am on the BC status, or always forward my calls, or forward my calls when I'm not online, etc. So we have the call forwards feature. So using this call forward feature, you can be directly forward your calls to your cell phones or to your home phones. And then we have the follow me feature. So this follow me feature is similar to the one station feature that we have on our version 2. But on the follow me features, so you will be creating a list of number, such as I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I got 3, 2, 4, 5, 6. And then the call will be trying to call the numbers in the follow me list one by one until there is a phone pick up. Then we have the Smart DID. So enabling the Smart DID features, such as it will be like using in these situations, such as I got a customer that is calling today, and the customer need to follow up with like a month later or like a week later, and the customer is trying to find the same sales representative that he or she talked to before. So using this Smart DID, we'll be able to check the customer's number, and then if the system check the customer number and match with a history record before, then the system will be directly forwarding the customer's number to the sales representative that he or she talked to before directly. And then we have the DISA, the DISA. So for using the DISA feature, it can reduce the employees' billing, telephone billing. So employee can be like calling to their company's PBX and then entering the PIN. And then it can use the PBX chunks, like SIP chunks to make the call. So if it will be saving a lot if you need to make the international call, then you can use the company's SIP chunks to make the international call instead of I need to pay on my own bill for making the international call. And then we have the call pickup. So if the agent is away, then it can automatically forward the call to a next agent. And then we have the cost by. So if I have a higher priority user, such as a manager or a supervisor, that they can like monitor the whole call. And then I have the cost split. So the supervisor is able to terminate the call. Then we have the call transfer. So we'll be simply transferring the numbers to the next agent. And here is the full list of features. So we got a lot of features here. So such as like do not disturb, we got the one-touch recordings, auto call recording, etc. And let's take over some solutions here. So I have prepared a few topologic diagrams. So let's take a look on the most common used solutions. So let's assuming that we are on in an office. I need one PBX in my office, and my PBX, and I have the IP phone that is able to register on our IP PBX. And then if you also need a desk phone from your homes, and then or you need to use a soft phone, then you can use our Proxy servers to make the remote registration, like remote extension registration using the Proxy servers. And using the proxy servers, then I will be able to register my soft phone onto the PBX and using the soft phone to make, using the chunks on my PBX to make the call. And then we have the bring your own device, the BYOD. So the BYOD will be only soft phone applied in these solutions. So I need a PBX. It doesn't have to be in my office. It can be at my home, right? And all my employees or like my colleagues is working from homes, that they can use the remote extensions to address their soft phones, or if they have the IP phone at home, then they can register on the PBX that is at my home. And then we have the remote office PBX integration solutions here. So if you have a headquarters, then you can use one PBX in your headquarters. And for different branches, you can use a smaller PBX. So if you have a smaller branch with like a fewer numbers of employees, then you can use a smaller IP PBX. And then the two PBX, they can be connect with the same zip trunks, or they can be using, like they can share with the same PDSN. And then so in this case, if you need to use the remote extensions, both of the PBX, they are required to have the proxy servers on each PBX. So the branch U20 will be requiring for one proxy service, and the headquarter U100 would be requiring for another proxy service. So in this case, you do need to purchase two proxy servers in order to make the remote extensions work. Then we have the analog PBX systems upgrade solutions here. So if I have a legacy PBX systems before, with can connect with my analog phones, and then using the landlines, I can connect with my FSO. Then I can connect with my IP PBX, and I would be like adding more IP phones in my office, and the IP phones would be registering on the new PBX. So if you need to use the soft phone feature, you will need to use the proxy servers and make the remote extensions here. Then we have the hotel solutions. So on the hotel solutions, they will be involved with our EF16S, the gateways. So using the EF16S, will be able to connect with, so one EF16S will be able to support at most 16 analog phones. So you'll be using like different, like a numbers of EF16S to connect with the analog phones, and then also plus a IP PBX in your hotels, like control rooms or security rooms. And then also if you have any other hotel staff using an IP phone, it can be like directly registered on the PBX. And the last solution would be using our PBX for some paging servers. So if you already have the PBX and you would like to registering the such as like intercom or speakers onto the PBX, we can also do it, since we are SIP enabled it. So as long as your speaker is SIP enabled, that you can use the speaker to register, like directly register on the IP PBX. And we actually just finished a project that is done in Korea, that they have our IP PBX, and they also purchased a number of our horn speaker, the SH30. and then they will just the horn speaker onto the PBX, and then they can use the phone to make the paging. Or if in another cases that you would like not only for like paging, like good paging, but you will also like to have your speaker to play background music or do like another features. We also have the solutions of the IP audio center for you. That is another systems that you can connect with. So the IP audio center can be connect with the IP PBX, and you can use the speaker for playing background music or like doing another tasks. And also you can use your existing IP phone to make the pagings or to trigger like any tasks. So there would be for the paging service solution plus the IP PBX.